along to another episode of Off the Leash. We've made it to episode number 9. We're at the semi-final stage of the £10,000 Coral Golden Sprint, and we're in good company once again. Tony Bullen from the Racing Post that joins us. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, we're doing good, Dave. We're keeping our head well above water. We're not treading water. We're on a yacht at the minute, so let's keep it going.
Firing in the winners. Obviously, we want to hear that you're backing all these winners as well as tipping them, right?
It's no good making a case for something and then not doing anything about it. You know, I wouldn't be wearing the You Go Boss, Dave.
All right, okay. Right. Do, of course, remember to like, comment and subscribe. We will be live onto the Racing Post YouTube channel every single Wednesday. And do keep a close eye on the feed because there's loads and loads of Cheltenham content coming your way. So do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Get your questions into us. We've had 1 or 2 questions which we'll tackle at the back end of the show. As Tony's already mentioned, in good form last week, chill turned sunny, drifted all the way out to 6 to 4. It was your nap. Never a moment's danger.
No, nice salt and, say, taken to the track. Still progressive. Might even be more to come. But obviously, the more success you enjoy, things do get tougher, Dave.
Right. We are at the semi-final stage of the £10,000 Coral Golden Sprint at Romford. And so far, so good, really, with the anti-post selections that we put up last week. We're going to look at some of the replays as well. But just to go over kind of where we stand, Druid Sogo, you was very keen on at 5 to 1, was the jolly. Halved in price, now into 5 to 2. We've got Supernova, your each way play 33s into 16s, and I'll put up front Alice at 25s into 10. So we're all still standing, which is marvellous. But mixed fortunes for punters in the 6 heats, Tony. Do you just had the one winning favourite? It happened to be the anti-post favourite, 1 to 4. Druid say go, but a right mixed bag of tricks last week.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the sad thing was to see the Droopy's Eddie go wrong. I think he would have put the fastest time up on the night as well. But as I say, that is part and parcel of the sport. But yeah, it's a hotly contested competition as usual, and the error margin for error is minimal at Romford.
Well, you mentioned Droopy's Eddie there, and wonderful to see earlier this week, Bonville Racing Kennels on social media posting this video of Droopy's Eddie. He's been operated on. He's run his last race, sadly. He was clear, and as Tony said, I think he was going to post a massive, massive time, be a big player in the Golden Sprint. Unfortunately, went wrong at the second turn, but he's been operated on. He's made comfortable, and he's now probably going to take up someone's sofa for the rest of his days. So we wish him well, and connections there, as course. As well, it was a bit of a rough one for Maxine Locke. She had a talented team of dogs going into the Golden Sprint. It certainly didn't go to plan on Friday night. So we wish them well. Let's have a look at some of the action then. We are going to go straight into heat number 1. And this was a belter. Bomb Out Bullet, the national sprint champion. He did the business in trap 2. Shirley's Boy in 1. Crafty Chavoo in 4. They're your 3 qualifiers. And if I were to tell you before the race that Bomb Out Bullet was going to win here, Tony, you didn't think Lead 3 would be the comment on his race card?
No, it was a bit harum scarum on the dash to the turn. But what I liked about this Bomb Out Bullet, the way he drove the third bend. I mean, it was amazing. I look back, this was his first competitive start over 4 bends on these shores. He had 2 races in Ireland over 4 bends, but I thought he saw it out really well. I know he didn't put up the flashy time in his prep trial, and obviously the way this race panned out, the time was never going to be sensational, but I thought he showed the right attitude, and yeah, it was a good performance from Bomb Out Bullet, the national sprint winner. Yeah,
24.30 there. I do think Crafty Chavoo run well. She had a nice bit of late early pace. She's coming out of season. Irish Oaks champion, Empress Stakes winner for the champion trainer Mark Wallace. Loads more to come from her, but more on her a little bit later on. We're going to head into heat 3 now. Romeo Crusade. Now, it's very strong on front. Alice in 4 here. That was my nap last week. You can see why, because Sororio did step inside from trap 3, but a brilliant performance here on the inside. Romeo Crusade 23.98. Front Alice did finish second in trap 4, and Sierra Pause in 5. There was no margin for error here with 2 and 3 stepping inside, but 1 was away and gone.
Yeah, he raised a few eyebrows. He won the Puppy Cup at the start of his career at a big price, and it was like, well, are you going to train on? Well, he certainly has. I mean, he's a 2-year-old now. He's runner-up in the Northamptonshire Sprint. He's versatile, Dave. I think he copes with all track draws. Give him red, give him 3, give him 4. I mean, he's got a tricky draw in the semi, but when he gets on the bunny, he's a formidable opponent.
Yeah, really, really flashy from the boxes, and he's got the pace to go with it, which makes him a real handful. Heat 5 was won by the only winning favourite in the first round, 1-4, Druid Sago, the anti-post jolly as well, 23.73, fastest time of the first round as well. Hell of a Valentine, run a hell of a race in Trap 5 at a big price, Central Park Raider, and La Gitana in Trap 2. So 1, 5 and 2, your 3 qualifiers here. 1 and 5 went to the bend really well, but she just showed her class at the second turn, didn't she? This was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, the reason, like, she was a bit skinny anti-post, but when you look at the heat she was in, it was like she was automatically going to be in the semis. So you sort of getting 5-1 about a dog that's probably going to be automatic ticket in the semi. And boy, did she throw down a marker here. She loves the track. I mean, Patrick clearly knows what type of dog to bring for the Golden Sprint. You just look at his record in recent years. But Druid Sago, when she gets on the bunny, nothing's going to pass her. Yeah,
he's won 3 of the last 4 Golden Sprints as Patrick Janssens, and her record, 9 starts over the 400 metres at Romford, 7 wins and 2 seconds. So never been out of the frame, and that was a good performance. As I say, hell of a Valentine, I thought run well, as well at a big price there. Right, we move on then to Litter Brother, to Romeo Crusade. This was Romeo Cypher in Heat 6 in Trap 2, 23.95. Supernova in 6 and Killer Detail in Trap 1, the other qualifiers here. Romford, he got to the final of the Romford Puppy Cup, and he's since gone on to win the Puppy Cup for British Breds at Oxford and break the track record over the 450 there, and he's just as fast as his brother.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's clearly suited by an easy 4 bends. I think a longer run to the turn suits him, as he showed at Oxford when he done the track record in that British Bred Puppy event, Dave. But yeah, he got it right at the cans, sub 24 seconds. The other each way anti-post selection, Supernova, rounds on through beaten rivals. It is funny about Supernova. He's a wide, but when got the daylight, edges to the inside to make his run from halfway. But yeah, all about early pace. Very impressive from Romeo Cypher.
Yeah, 23.95 on the board there. And Dave Mullins, who has farmed the Puppy Cup in recent years over course and distance, has got a strong hand in this year's Golden Sprints. Friday night then will be the semi-finals of the £10,000 Coral Golden Sprint at Romford. Sky 415 behind the red button, and we're now going to tackle the 3 semi-finals. First 2 go through. No margin for error here at the start. It's all about trapping, speed to the turn, and the first 2 will go through to next week's final. Market here, headed by Romeo Crusade at 5-2. The Puppy Cup winner, an absolute belter though. We've got the National Sprint winner, Bomb Out Bullet in 3. Crafty Chavoo, has to be more to come from the Irish Oaks and Empress Stakes champion. She goes in Trap 2. Front Alice got a good draw out wide in Trap 6 as the only seeded dog. How'd you see it, Tony?
It's very tricky. I mean, I think you could run this numerous times, Dave, and get a different result. I felt Bomb Out Bullet, he's yet to sort of come away at these boxes at Romford. He's had 2 goes now. I can't see him starting any worse than he did last time out. So anything better is a bonus, and he's got that pace and the sprinting pace. I thought he saw it out really strongly, the 400 metres at Romford. So if we can get a half-decent exit from Bomb Out Bullet, I think he can pass this test.
He looks likely to lead, doesn't he? I'm going to take a chance, though, with Crafty Chavoo here in Trap 2. She has to improve. Again, she caught the eye showing late, early pace. So I'm talking about real pace into the turn. And should she find a start, you know, Bomb Out Bullet is going to have to be his very best to clear at the turn. But she could still get him coming home. I just got a feeling that she might go around in second, and then it certainly will be race on. I'll be hoping that Front Alice can qualify. And then, of course, Romeo Crusader was brilliant, and he's classy and versatile. He's out in 5. Should he flash out, he could carve up the inside. So anything can happen in that opener. That is the 8:26 on Friday night at Romford, the first of the semis, and the first 2 will, of course, go through. Right, we move on then to the second semi-final, 400 metres. The trip, 8:44 here, and the anti-post jolly is going to be odds on here, I think, Tony, in Trap 2. Druid Sago, Coral's first out the boxes with prices, and they've gone 4-5. Romeo Cypher, 100-30. And it's the presence of one on the inside that's kind of holding up the price of 2 here, because without the top, or should they even be drawn around the other way, I think we'd probably be seeing 1-2 about the jolly.
Yeah, I cringed when I saw the draw, because obviously when you've had an anti-post play and you see your 2 selections with the first 2 to qualify format. But after looking at it again, I think if 1 and 2 do rub each other out on the run to the turn, you've got to look at Supernova to qualify. I mean, absolutely. So, and even if 2 Blast Clear denies 1 the luxury lead in, Supernova's got a chance of running on to a place as well. So at first I was cringing, but in second look at it, I didn't think it was too bad. I mean, Rapido Lady was very game when winning her respective heat, but there's pace galore here, and it's whoever beats 2 to the punch. I think if 2 beats 1 to the punch, 2 will go on to win. Vice versa. I think if 1 beats 2 to the punch, 2, as much as she'll try her level best, he might be 35 kilo frame, difficult obstacle to pass. Then you're looking at the likes of Supernova running on if it got scrappy.
So selection?
I'm going to be with 2, but if I had to have a bet, I'd say 6 is more likely to qualify than 1 or 2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some sort of case for Hell of a Valentine here, who's in at a pony 25 to 1, because went to the bend with Druid Sago and just obviously surrendered the inside and then was outclassed down the far side. But if you feel that Romeo Cypher and Druid Sago could come together, well, if the same Hell of a Valentine turns up and shows the pace that went to the corner with Druid Sago, that one could get loose at a massive price. So it's a tricky little race. I'm with Druid Sago as well. I mean, you look at that record, in good company, 7 wins and 2 seconds. Never been out the first 2 over the 400 at Romford. And I think will just outgun the top to the corner, and that will prove the difference. But short prices, I think I'd rather back Druid Sago to win the whole event than to win that semi-final, and hope that the draw in the final is favourable. Tricky, but a belter, semi-final number 2. And we move on to the third and final semi, which will be the 902 at Romford. Again, live on Sky Sports Racing, 415 behind the red button. And we've got joint favourites here on the early prices with Corals, the sponsors. Cunningham User 7 to 4, and Aero Convey in trap 5, both 7 to 4. And no disrespect to the runners in here, Tony, but this is definitely the weakest of the 3 semis, right?
Yeah, it is. And obviously the 3 sort of principles here, Cunningham, User, Aero Convey, and obviously Road Sea Gun, who caused an upset. That was in the Droopy's Eddie heat, I believe. And obviously the time tells you the way the race panned out. But I'm going to be with Aero Convey. I know he's not necessarily a lid pinger, but he doesn't have to be. He's had them 2 runs under his belt now. I thought he ran an absolute blinder on his reappearance, but he was fresh then. It was no surprise to see him show as much urgency. He can come from just off the pace if required, if the race stacks up right. So I'll be with Aero Convey in this particular semi. Yeah,
it's going to be 2 votes then for Paul Young's Aero Convey in track 5 here again. So very similar to Tony. This is a dog that definitely doesn't need to lead. He's very strong, massive down the far side. Just get him in a pitch, and I think he'll prove too good coming home. So 2 votes for track 5 in the third semi-final. Right, as we mentioned, it resumes on Friday night then, the £10,000 Coral Golden Sprint, 400 metres. The action will be fast and furious. And let's take a little look at how they now stand. The field has halved. 36 has become 18. There'll be 3 semi-finals on Friday night, and Druid Sago has halved as well. 5's into 5 to 2. She heads the betting for Patrick Janssens, who has won 3 of the last 4 Golden Sprints. Romeo Crusade and Romeo Cypher, Litter Brothers at 6 and 9 to 1 respectively. And then you've got Bomb Out Bullet, Crafty Chavoo and Front Alice all in at 10 to 1, 14 bar. Barring the Jolly, who looks a class apart, obviously needs to do things right at the boxes. Where's the kind of each way play here? Because there has to be some sort of each way play. We've got a short price Jolly. If you was to have a bet now, Tony, where are you looking?
I think we put the each way play up at the start in Supernova, and I genuinely wouldn't I wouldn't swap my cards for anything, to be true to you. In fairness, Dave, I mean, I didn't see any need to add anything to the portfolio, particularly from the first semi-final. I think that's a pick 'em. I think you could pick any 2 to qualify in the first semi-final. I suppose Aero Convey in the arguably of the weaker third semi could be of a bit of interest, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm sticking.
Stick, no twist, a stick from Tony. If I was to have a play now, I think I'd probably play Crafty Chavoo, because if I fancy her to win that semi, which I do, and I think she's going to come on. She's 11 weeks, you know, she'll be 12 weeks, and expecting improvement from her. At 10 to 1, you know, I'm sitting on Crafty Javu. She's classy. She's a proven big race winner. She's coming forward every outing. I'm sitting her at 10 to 1 in next week's final. Now, she might not be, you know, snappy enough at the boxes and just pacey enough into the turn to beat a Druid Sago, but I'll take a chance to find out at 10 to 1. So if I was to have a play right now, this week heading into the semis, I think it'll probably be Crafty Javu at double figure prices for me there. Right, thank you for all the messages that we've had in both on YouTube and on social media. There's been quite a few over the last couple of weeks. We've had loads of replays and previews to get through, so we've not been able to touch on all of the comments, but an ongoing theme recently, and we've had a couple of messages in. This one was from Stuart on YouTube, and he said, "Hi lads, love the show. What do you make of the 2 recent big race disqualifications due to the positive samples?" And quite a few messages in on this one. If you're not aware, No Rush won the Oaks, disqualified, having returned a positive sample. Churchfield Sid won the Winter Derby, disqualified, having returned a positive sample. Don't know the ins and outs of it, Tony, but what the hell's going on? You know, you could be looking at this thinking, well, is there a big drug problem in greyhound racing? Is there a problem with the testing procedure? We've not really had the blanks filled in terms of these 2 particular cases, but not good.
No, I mean, it's sad, disappointing for everyone concerned, really, in all aspects. I mean, as I say, it's not a good look for the sport. Connections have been tearing their hair out in certain aspects. The thing with the procedure, obviously, there's 0 tolerance levels that the GBGB test for. Now, obviously, in the current world that we live in, there are people using recreational drugs, and things can get into the system, banknotes and stuff through your hands. But I've always been led to believe when they send this to the laboratories at Newmarket, if I was to put a substance in, like I've got something on my finger and it goes into the wee sample, they know that it's gone through the dog. So when they test it, although something could get into the sample, it has to have been processed through the dog, I'm led to believe. But the levels that we're talking about are not performance enhancing, which Ben Johnson, when he won 100 metres, I mean, he was on anabolic steroids, performance enhancer. So the levels that are showing are not necessarily a performance enhancing. So we need to A, know how the testing procedure is done. B, do the scientific people say, well, no, there would have been a higher amount in there at the time of but it leaves this. It's always speculation, and speculation in any aspects, particularly this sport, is no good. We need to sort of have the law laid down, rules a little bit clearer. I believe in Ireland there's higher tolerance levels, which makes sense. But the GBGB have got a 0 tolerance level, and I've heard that there's double digits of the same samples that's not right, because people ain't going around giving their dogs substances to help them win races. So there's something wrong, and it needs addressing, because sometimes innocent people suffer and it's not fair. So it certainly needs a look at and be more clear, because we ain't scientists. We don't know the ins and outs of how testing's done. So when the levels come out that low, you're disappointed. But why are they that low? And do they say it's broken down? It takes a sufficient time to break down. We just need answers rather than speculating.
Yeah, I think it would be foolish for us to comment on the specific cases because we don't know the facts. But Richard Rees quoted in the Racing Post quite simply along the lines of, you know, you're going to be tested in a big final, so why would you do it? You know, you're just asking for trouble. So that one will rumble on, but it needs addressing. There's no 2 ways about that, because we cannot carry on down this path of big race winners just being disqualified and then on we go, because, you know, what are we even trying to achieve? So needs addressing, needs sorting, and hopefully will be in the coming days, weeks and months, because that one might rumble on, but we can't allow it to. So needs addressing and needs sorting. But thank you for that, Stuart. Do remember to get in touch with us every week via social media. You can, you know, fire across something to myself, Tony, the RP Greyhounds account, or jump onto YouTube and give us a comment underneath one of the videos. We will scan across them all and try and get across the comments. But that one was flagged 1 or 2 times. So Stuart, thank you for that, and everyone else that mentioned that. And we don't know the ins and outs of those particular 2 cases, so it's hard for us to comment, but hopefully things will be made clearer and resolved sooner rather than later. Right then, let's get down to business and best bets of the week. If we were on the tee, it would certainly be your honour, Tony, after the performance of Chiltern Sunny last week. So away you go. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to Saturday night, Central Park. I had the card drop yesterday afternoon. Wow, what an amazing card. I mean, there's preparations for the Kent Plate, and there's some trial stakes. I mean, Liz and Rad McNair have gone there with their King Capaldi's. I mean, just the opening trial stake. King Memphis versus Churchfield Sid. Throw in the likes of Claire Keith, Remy Droopy's Reserve and Newin DJ. That's just one trial stake. And you got Queen Joni. It's just such a brilliant night's racing. King Capaldi. But I've gone to the staying race, the Arc Stayers Trophy in the 921. Stories Fuse for Maxine Locke. She's a bitch. The penny's dropped. She's back-to-back wins. She broke the 38-second barrier at Monmore to open her account and slammed Tuono Bella by 9 1/4 lengths last weekend. Obviously, she's going to be short on that basis, but she won't be because Kuna Crow, the Golden Jacket finalist, Grand Prix winner last year's in the race. I think Kuna Crow makes the market. Kuna Crow slammed Stories Fuse when they met twice at Crayford recently, but Stories Fuse has improved dramatically, and I think might be worth a play with Kuna Crow in the race.
Well, Stories Fuse to reverse the form then for Tony. My best bet of the week, I'm going to go to Romford. You know, we've previewed the semi-finals of the Golden Sprint in this week's show, and on the supporting card, a ground who I thought showed loads of pace in the first round. That pace wasn't enough to get him through into the semi-finals, but Richard Reese's Clara Roberto goes in a maiden 7:14, goes in track 3. Now, he's shown a tendency to just take a step right out the boxes when drawn down the middle, but the dog in 4 is quite slow to go and has been in with that one recently and blew it away to the corner. I think we'll clear the inside and be away and gone. So, Clara Roberto, my nap this week, goes in track 3, 7:14 at Romford on Friday night. It's the semi-finals of the £10,000 Coral Golden Sprint. 3 of those on Friday night live on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. Do, of course, tune in. The action will be kicking off about 6:30 there, and the semi-finals around about the middle of the card. So make sure you tune in there. This has been Off the Leash. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Get in touch with us every week. We'll be here every Wednesday. And, of course, do remember to gamble responsibly. We'll see you next time.